Okay, good afternoon. I think you can hear me now. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I guess that's the number, very small number. Maybe because of the mid-test. I don't understand. 12 hours for you to do such a short assignment should be no issue. So never mind. It will be recorded and then we'll see what we can do. There's 15 of you. We'll just start with our tutorial today. We'll be on topic interest rate futures, tutorial week 5. So I hope that you have the questions with you. So let's start with the discussion today. So interest rate futures is a bit confusing to some to a certain extent if you don't understand the concept and the mechanics of it. So go through it several times, go through your lecture slides, go through the tutorial questions, and you will most likely face no problem with it at all. Okay, so let's look at question number 1. Let's see how it goes. So January 15 now. So it's January 15 now. Okay. And the corporation needs to borrow $200 million for 3 months from April 15 to July 15. Borrow from April 15 to July 15. So January to April, 3 months. April to July is 3 months. Okay, how much do you need to borrow? $200 million here. Okay. So it enters into a long 3/6 FRA. What is this 3/6 FRA? 3 months later, all the way to the 6 months. So there's 3/6 FRA. So you go into a 3/6 FRA. So FRA means forward rate. FRA is forward rate and borrows 200 million at LIBOR on April 15. So this one at LIBOR. So what is LIBOR? LIBOR is a spot price. The fixed rate in the FRA is K 800%. The FRA, the strike price is 8%. Assume the actual divided by 360 convention and there are 91 days between April 15 to July 15. So that's some other details. So note it down. So let's look at A now. The LIBOR is 7.6%. LIBOR is 7.6%. So this is something like a spot price. Okay, 7.6% on April 15. Compute the net interest payable on July 15, taking into account payoff from FRA. So you know, count here what happened here. Interest payable here. So let's look at the steps here. Simple. Oops. Look at here. So first of all, what happened here? Okay, from your FRA on April 15, FRA on April 15, what is a payoff? Okay, what is a payoff? And what should you do? So here, you want to go into an agreement on April 15. You want to have interest rate at 8%. You want to lock it at 8%. So what do you do is, you long. You buy an FRA. So you buy an FRA at 8% in 3 months' time. So you long FRA. Okay, you buy the forward rate agreement. All right. So after buying this forward rate agreement, what is actually happening here? So 200 million dollar multiplied by the price difference. Okay, spot price is 0.076, but you lock it at 8%. So in other words, you're actually making a losses times 91 days. You're making a losses. Okay, you buy a FRA which give you an interest rate of 8%, but now the current price is only 7.6%. So in other words, you are locking yourself in an interest rate which is higher than what you can borrow from the spot price. So in this case, you're making a losses here. losses. You're paying extra. Okay. You make a loss of $202,222.22. This is your losses. So on April 15, this is where you need to borrow the $200 million. You borrow this $200 million. So how much of interest you will get? You will need to pay for this $200 million. So $200 million multiplied by the spot borrowing rate. You borrow at 0.076 and for 91 days. So the interest being charged to you is 3,842,222.22. Okay. So your net interest payable at the end of the 3 months, which is on July, it will be 3,842,222.22 plus 202,222.22. So these two together, sum up together, is the total interest that you need to pay, which sum up to $4,044,444.44. This if you're using FRA. Okay, this is the amount that you need to pay when you're using a forward rate agreement. So second part of the question, what happens if you don't use FRA, you use EF? What is EF? Euro dollar futures. Okay, Euro dollar futures. So when you talk about Euro dollar futures, it's a bit different from FRA and what you have to go through before that. In Euro dollar futures, if you want to borrow something, remember this, you borrow, if you want to borrow $200 million, you must short your Euro dollar futures. Short means you lock at a borrowing rate. Okay. You long if you want to lock it at a lending rate. So this is the special scenario for interest rate futures. Only happen for interest rate future. This is special for interest rate futures. Okay, you short your Euro dollar futures if you want to lock at the borrowing rate. You long your Euro dollar futures if you want to lock at the lending rate. Okay, so in this case, you want to borrow. You want to borrow $200 million. So you need to short futures. So this question, you short futures. How many futures? 200 futures. Short 200 futures. Why 200 futures? Okay, one future is equivalent to a $1 million contract. So same like just now, you want to count. Number one, pay off from future. Okay, pay off from the future. So you have total of 200 contract. Okay, the price change from 0.0, the difference is 0.076 minus 0.08. You lock at 0.08, but then the price now is 0.076. Multiply by 25. So y times 25. What is this 25? I'll tell you later. And times 10,000. So let's see. This 10,000 is actually your contract size of 1 million divided by 100. This is your contract size. Okay, you convert it into decimal point. Because of percentage also divided by 100, right? So contract size also divided by 100. So what is this 25 here? This 25 is the value of BP. What is BP? Basis point. 0.01% is equals to 1 basis point. Okay, 0.01% is equals to 1 basis point. All right. So we'll talk about this later. Don't worry. So for this figure, you calculate it, you should get negative 200,000. Of course, it's a loss lah. Okay, of course it's a loss. Negative 200,000. So at the same time, this 200,000 will need to be including of interest. Okay, you need to borrow this $200,000 also. You got no money, you are borrowing $200 million because you need it on April 15. So now from your future, you're making another extra losses here. So where do you get the money from? You need to borrow another 200,000 then. So this $200,000, including interest, will be how much? Okay, so your future loss plus interest is equals to how much? So this is how you calculate it. 200,000 multiplied by 1 plus 0.076 times 90, times 91 over 360. Okay, so this will give you the total amount of losses you need to pay plus interest is 203,842.22. This is how much you need to pay, you know. So not only this, you need to also borrow at April. At April, you somehow got another action, which is borrowing 200 million at 0.076. So how much of interest you need to pay for this $200 million? Again, count. 200 million times with 0.076. It's the same like just now, okay? Times with 91 over 360. So this will give you the figure of 3842.22. Okay? 3842.22. So total interest payable will be 3842.22 plus 203,842.22. So this will give you a total number of 4046,064.44. Okay, so for your forward rate FRA, you pay 4,044,444.44. If it's a future, you need to pay $4,046,064.44. All right, because these losses here will be charged interest also. Not only paying the basis, you are paying on the interest on top of it also. All right, clear? Huh? Okay, clear? All clear? Can I move on? No response. Yeah, okay, good. So I move on. All right, I move on then. So look at question number 2 and question number 3 now. These two questions are actually very easy and very similar. So question 2 here, they tell you, a euro-dollar futures price changes from 96.76 to 96.82. What is the gain or loss to an investor who long two contract? So this investor buy at 96.76. So 96.76 go to 96.82 is an increase, so you know this is a gain. Okay, gain by how much? So take the higher figure 96.82 minus 96.76. So this is a gain of 0.06. 0.06. I told you 0.01 is equals to 1 basis point. So 0.06 is equal to 6 basis point. Okay. 1 basis point, the value is $25. All right. So 6 basis point now times with 25, you get $150 per contract. So this investor along 2 contract. So 2 times 150 is equals to a gain of $300. Okay, right? Straightforward, very easy. Very easy. This is question 2. Okay? That's question 2. So let's look at question 3 instead. Very similar question. Question 3 instead. The euro dollar futures price changed from 98.32 to 98.21. I can see here, this one is from high go to 98.21. So they drop in value. Okay, so let's see what is the position to get it. What is the gain or loss to an investor who short 50 contract? So the fella short 50 contract. That means he sell at a higher price and then buy back at a lower price. So this fella is a gain again. So definitely a gain one, right? Okay, gain by how much? Because he short at here, he short at a higher price, 98.32, and then buy at a cheaper price, 98.21. He make a net gain of 0.11. Okay, again, 0.11 is equal to how many basis point? 0.1 is equals to 1 BP. 0.11 is equals to 11 BP lah. So 11 basis point multiplied by 25. Okay. So how much you get? 275 per contract. Gain. Remember how many contract he got? 50. 50 times 275. This person got a gain of $13,750 gain. Very easy, right? 2 and 3, very easy. Okay? Very straightforward, very easy. Just remember this. You buy at lower, when the price goes up, you gain. When you sell at higher price, when the price drop down, you are making a gain also. So look at the situation. Just draw something like this. It's easy to see. Always look at it like that. It's easy to see. Okay, once you can see how's the transfer of information, the flow of information, you could assure that you could get the correct answer then. Okay? All right. Now, let's look at question number 4 instead. Question number 4 is quite interesting because there is a different kind of question here. Let's look at here. The December euro dollar futures contract is quoted as 98.40. Okay, it's 98.40. So December EF all right, it's quoted as 98.40. And the company has a plan to borrow 8 million for 3 months starting in December at LIBOR plus 0.5. So you know, this 98.4 is your K. So exactly how much is this? So K is 100 minus 98.4. So the borrowing rate is 1.6%. Okay, you want to borrow $8 million, you want to borrow it at 1.6%. You want to lock it in futures, means it's 1.6%. Okay, then they're telling you the borrowing rate from December onwards. All right, at spot price. December LIBOR Okay, sorry, December spot price is December spot like you see. December spot price is LIBOR plus 0.5. All right. Okay. So, A, what rate can the company lock in by using the euro dollar futures contract? If the company lock in the futures contract, that means they are locking in at 1.6%. They are looking at to borrow at 1.6%. Okay, even if they can lock in at 1.6%, so the spot price will be you lock at 1.6% at the same time need to add on plus 0.5%. So the effective rate or the rate that you can get is 1.6 plus 0.5. So it's going to be 2.1%. This is the rate that you get. LIBOR means is the future spot price, right? Okay. So at currently, it's a requirement. Okay. So it's like the bank telling you today the bank lending rate, they'll tell you BLR plus 10% or BLR plus 1%. So whatever the rate given to you by Bank Negara today, you need to add on another 1% on top of it. So the same happens to here. Okay, so it's LIBOR plus 0.5%. LIBOR is unknown. So if you already lock your price to borrow in the future, it's 1.6 now. So your LIBOR will be 1.6%. And on top of that, you need to pay an extra 0.5%. Got it? Yeah, Yukman? Okay, good. All right. So yeah, so always remember when these kind of questions come to you, they'll always say to plus 0.5, plus 1%. You remember what is the plus for. The plus is on top of whatever you're paying. That's the additional extra that you need to pay on top of that. It's a criteria. Okay. So now you understood. LIBOR means something like your bank lending rate, your base lending rate. Base lending rate plus how many amount. Okay. All right. So part B, so this is the amount that you pay, 2.1%, because you lock it at 1.6, and then on top of that, you pay extra 0.5, so it's to 2.1%. So part B, what position should the company take in the contracts? So should the company long or short? So I told you, if they are borrowing, it should be long or short. When it's borrowing, it's supposed to long or short. I showed you just now. The one that I put in the red color box. Short, yes. So when you're borrowing, you are shorting. You short. Short how many contract? $8 million means short 8 contract. Simple. Okay? Short 8 contract. Why? Because it's $8 million. 1 million one contract. Simple. Very straightforward. Can, huh? All right. Are you okay or not? Cannot? Oh, some of you already sleeping already. Okay, can. Very good. So, can, then I will move on. I'll move on. So let's look at question number 5. This one is a bit different. Okay, this is a bit different here. So a new formula will be used here later. So it is March 20 today, and the corporation needs to borrow AUD 200 million. So just write out for just draw out what is the timeline. March 20 is today. The corporation need to borrow 200 million for 3 months from June 20. So June 20 to September 20. So need to borrow at spot price here. Okay, need to borrow at spot price here. All right, the corporation intend to use a 90-day BAB futures to hedge the possible increase in interest rate by June 20. So they want to use hedging tools or BAB here, futures on June 20 over here for the next 3 months. Okay, as of March today, the BAB futures stand at 94.2. Okay, so back at here, your BAB futures, you know, count the strike price. They tell you it stands from 94.2. So it's 100 minus 94.2. So the strike price, the strike interest is 5.8%. assuming that on June 20, the 90-day BAB yield is 6.1%. What would be the net interest payable for this borrowing on September? Again, you want to count the interest payable here. All right. So over here in June 20, the borrowing rate, your L becomes 6.1%. Okay, so this is the information you got now. At March, your futures is 5.8%. At June 20, it's actually 6.1% already. So in this case, it seems like you already gained 0.3%. Makes sense, right? You make 0.3%. Correct or not? All right. So if you lock it to borrow at 5.8% and the current rate at June 20 is 6.1%, you already make 0.3%. Simple. So now you want to count the BAB gain. Okay? You count the BAB gain. Again, here you're borrowing. So what do? Borrowing means you short. Short how many contract? 500 million means 500 BABs. So what is BABs? Bank accepted bill. So it's the same thing. Okay? So short 500 BABs. To remember that. So what happened now here is you want to count the amount of gain from the BABs. So number one, you want to count the gain from BAB. Number two, you want to count your borrowing interest rate. Number three, you want to count the gain from BNB plus 3 months interest. Okay, so why BAB got 3 month interest or more? Because your gain in BNB happened here. So when you got the extra money, you park in the bank to get 3 months interest. So you need to count what is the gain from BAB, and on top of that, 3 months interest on top of that also. And lastly, you can count your net payable interest. So 4 things to look at. 4 steps. So the first one, gain from BAB. Look at it. Gain from BAB, the formula is simple. Futures price at time 0 minus futures price at time t is equals to 200 contract times with contract size divided by 1 plus strike price over the amount of day. So the amount of day is 90 over 360. Okay, minus contract size divided by 1 plus spot price over that times with 90 over 360. So count this. Again, fill in first, one by one. 200, 1 mil, 1 plus, your K is 0.058. Minus 1 mil, 1 plus 0.061. So you get 200, 985,901 minus 985,182. So your futures gain here, it's 143,800. So again, put a positive here. Okay, so this is step number 1. Yeah, put 365 here per day lah, huh? So 365, unless they stated 90 divided 360. Sorry, my mistake. Okay, 90 divided by 365. All right. Yep, you're right. So followed by days, 1 year got 365 days, then 365 lah. So unless like first question, they tell you assume actual divided by 360, then divided by 360. If not, it will be divided by exact 365. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. So if not, everyone will be so confused. All right, I missed out that point. So let's move on. After we got the first one, we count the borrowing interest rate, number 2. Borrowing interest rate. So you need to borrow $500 million. Sorry, $200 million now. 200 million, and the interest rate is 6.1%. So you take the 6.1% at this time frame. Okay, you look at here at this time frame. You're borrowing at here. Okay, 3 months later, how much you are going to pay? So you're going to count the interest now. 0.061 times with 90 over 365. So the amount that you are paying here as interest is 3,008,220. So going back to number 3, the interest gain on top of your BAB. So BAB is 143,800 times with 1 plus 0.061 times 90 over 365. So students sometimes still ask, why is it 1 plus? So simple, because you're including the capital into the interest. Okay, like this one, 200 million, you're only counting the net interest. If you don't count the interest plus the total amount that you borrow that you need to pay back is plus 1 plus. So it's 200 million plus this figure. So that's why it's a 1 plus here. You want to count the inclusive of this, the capital. So for this, you will get 145,963. This is your gain. Okay, this is your gain. So lastly, you're going to count your net interest payable. So net interest payable here is 3,008,220 minus, because this is a gain, okay, you deducted from the amount of interest here. Net paying off that you need to pay is 2,862,257. Can, so 4 steps. Remember these 4 steps. Okay, gain from BAB, borrowing interest rate, plus gain from BAB plus 3 months interest. Okay, number 4, net payable interest. This is the 4 steps here. Then you can get your answer, the amount of interest that you are paying. Okay, cannot. Okay, good. All right, okay. So remember about 365 here, if they tell you it's a day, because they're telling you this is a 90-day BAB, yeah. So the question is that I didn't write down. So in the question, they tell you it's a 90 days BAB. So when you see 90 days BAB, when talk about days means it's always divided by 365. If it's month, then okay, you can just divide it by 12. Okay, or easier, you just put it 360. Yeah, scroll up where? Yeah, blue color part. Okay, so 90 days BAB, you use days. If it's used months only, then divided by 12 or divided by 360. Can? Okay. Right. So now look at the last question here. This is to show to you what happens if you do hedging. Okay, what happens if you do hedging? So what happens if the price goes up? What happens if the interest goes up and the interest goes down? So suppose it is now April 2020. Okay, and you anticipate the 3 months borrowing need for $500 million beginning July 2020, you want to borrow $500 million. You wish to hedge the interest rate risk changes between now and July 2020 using euro-dollar futures. Suppose the euro-dollar futures price for July contract is currently 93, implied euro-dollar interest rate, so it's 7%. What will be the hedge net interest payout for 500 million borrowing in September 2020? If A, so September 2020, again, you count the interest payable here. So now at April, you calculated your euro-dollar futures, the strike price, again, or the futures price is 7%. LIBOR, don't know. Okay, LIBOR, you don't know. So, A tells you, what if the LIBOR is 7.25? So what happened if the LIBOR is 7.25? So again, very simple. This question telling you, okay, telling you that you want to borrow. So naturally, for you to hedge, you will short. You will short 500 futures. You will short 500 futures naturally. So you see, if you short 500 futures, that means you lock yourself at 7%. But later on, 3 months later, the LIBOR is 7.25. That means you already have a gain there. You gain a 0.25% for each contract. Okay? So very simple. 7.25 minus 7% is equals 0.25%. 0.25 divided by 0.01 is equals to 25 basis point. 25 basis point times 25 is $625 gain per contract. So when you have 500 contract, you're gonna be 500 multiplied by 625. You're gonna get 302,500 per contract for the whole 500 contract. Okay, so since you are getting this amount, since you are getting that amount, you want to count the 4 steps just now. You count the gain. After that is step 2 is counting borrowing. So you can do 3 also first. So if you do borrowing first, you count the borrowing here. So 500 million, follow just now, the blue color. 500 million, how much you pay for interest, times with 0.0725, and it's for 3 months. So 3 over 12. Okay, 3 over 12. So 3 over 12 is 9,062,500. This is the interest payable. So number 3 is your gain plus 3 months interest. So again, just now is 312,500 times 1 plus 0.0725 times with 3 over 12. So this will give you 318,614. Sorry, 164. Okay, so from here you can count what is your interest payable. Okay, you need to pay 9 million. All right, but you get a gain from the futures. So in the end, you're only paying $8,744,336. Okay, this is when the price went up. So now, what happened if the price went down when LIBOR is only 6.25? 6.75. So this definitely going to be a loss. Okay, so number one, instead of gain, it become a loss. All right, so 6.75 minus 7 is negative 0.25 divided by 0.1, sorry, 0.01 is negative 25 basis point. Negative 25 multiplied by each basis point $25, negative 625 per contract. Okay, negative 625 per contract. So 500 of it, you'll be negative 312 500. 312 500. So follow the blue color things again that I tell you, the blue color steps. So number two, at the period of July, you need to borrow money. Borrow 500 million. Okay, so count the interest. 500 mil multiplied by the spot interest rate of 0.0675 times with 3 months. Okay, times with 3 months. So this will give you $8,437,000. This is the interest payable. So much lesser compared to when the price went up. So if price went up, that means you borrow at higher rate, right? But then because your gain, it offset, it become lower back. So in this case, if you do not hedge, you only need to borrow at, you don't need to pay interest of 8.4 million. Okay, but bear in mind, just now when you talk about making a gain, so making gain, you can earn interest. But if you're making a losses, means you need to borrow this money. So this amount of money need to be borrowed from the bank. You don't have that money. So 312 500, you borrow from the bank is 1 plus 0.0675 times with 3 over 12. So this will give you 317,773. So including interest and the losses that you make, including interest for 3 months, you need to pay 317,773 instead. So now your net interest payable will be the total of these two. 8437000 plus 317,773. You will be getting 8,755,273. Okay, if you realize 8,752,773 is even higher than 8,744,336. That means your speculation, because when you borrow something, you're scared that the price will goes up. Okay, you want to borrow at a lower rate. You're scared that the rate went up. Okay, so if you're scared the rate went up, if it goes up, means you definitely has a benefit in that hedging. But on the other side, if your speculation of it, when you borrow, you're scared of the interest going up, but it goes down instead. So that's why a hedging will minimize your risk, but it does not make you gain any profit or whatsoever. So in this case, you can see that if the price goes down, you actually lost more money because the interest on top of your losses need to be bear by you also. Okay, can you get it or not? All right, very good. So I hope that this gives you some insight about what is interest rate futures about. Okay, hopefully you could understand it well and do well in your. Yes, what is your question? Oops, what is your question?